off the news, not really the biggest day in news, but to kick off, we finally got the release time and preload time for First Ascendant. And now, if you haven't seen First Ascendant, it's a looter shooter, kind of like Warframe. It's drawing a lot of comparisons to Warframe and Destiny, obviously, but with those being some of the most prominent ones. So looking up at the release time, I believe the preload, yeah, June 30th for everybody. Now here are the corresponding times for your time zones. But yeah, June 30th for the preload, and then the game won't release until July 2nd, 12 p.m. Pacific time, 3 a.m. Eastern Standard Time. That's most of us watching the video, most likely. So yeah, I personally always like the preload. I hate when games don't have preloading. I think preloading is like, it should be a part of every game because it's just so annoying. Day of release, having to download, wait the extra hours, and then stuff like servers being down, stuff like that always happens, I feel like. And then with also the preload time, we do have the minimum PC specs. So we have, you know, Windows 10 OS 64, Intel 5, that's i5 3570. I mean, I'm not super familiar, but that's not that high. This game 1080 1050 Ti, wow, I can't talk today, 1050 Ti or AMD Radeon 570. I know I'm not too familiar with the Radeon graphics cards, but at 1050, if you can't run most games with 1050 Ti, I know that for sure. I had a 2060, and you know, we had to boost that up, and then only 50 gigs, so it'll probably be around 50 gigs, 45 gigs. Sometimes it's a little over. This is probably the specs that are on Steam, to be honest. So this is actually kind of surprising. When I first looked at the game, it actually looked super visually demanding, a lot of like flares and stuff like that, but that's actually pretty reassuring that the minimum specs are so low. Obviously this is the minimum to run the game, not to, you know, run at 60 FPS or anything like that. But as well as the release time and preload time, we also got to look at 3 new characters. Let me pull them up on YouTube. So before, there was 3 characters that we hadn't seen, and this is the first one.
Electricity doesn't just materialize out of thin air. Bunny plays by different rules, though.
Are you ready to be shocked?
The speed of light allows Bunny to move faster and acquire more electricity.
Okay, so definitely like a speed DPS.
She can also roam around the battlefield, electrocuting enemies and saving her friends. Bunny's powerful electricity can deal massive damage to enemies.
Yeah, 100% speed DPS.
She can even summon an electro orb to give her enemies an electrocution effect. When Bunny is charged with electricity and lands after a double jump, it's game over for everyone.
Okay, so she seems like obviously a movement-based character, but just a quick DPS. Let me see if I can find the other characters. So there was Bunny, there was Volby. And
While Valby
Ajax
can be a deadly tsunami to her foes, she is as gentle as the morning tide to her beloved friends.
Water playtime!
oh, okay, so this is the water
Valby
character
can
that we've seen a
liquefy
lot
her
in the
body
trailers.
to move faster, creating a waterway that turns her enemies into mere laundry. She can also create big puddles, then jump out of her desired location and deal damage to enemies.
Try not to get wet.
She's going crazy.
With Valby's
It seems like
ability to
another
manipulate
movement
water,
DPS,
she
speed
can also shoot
DPS.
bubble bullets and form small puddles.
Watch out for the splash.
Valby's weapon can also become the unique laundry bomb launcher. One
Laundry
blast of this
bomb?
water
That's
trap,
crazy.
and victory is in her hands. Don't forget, your MP will drop massively when using skills standing on water.
Smooth like butter.
Very cool, very cool. So another speed DPS. Now let's move on to the third one. I don't think this is gonna be DPS. I think he's more of a tank. Actually,
Now
I'm not
introducing
gonna fully say that
Ajax,
because I don't
the
remember if
divine
he's a.
space bender. Ajax always makes it out alive. He can even survive the void.
If I remember
where
right, he's more
real-world
of a tank.
physics don't apply.
No one will die on my watch.
With his great charisma, Ajax specializes in protecting his teammates. His barrier ensures the safety
Yeah,
of his friends
definitely like
while dealing
seems
damage
like a
and
tank.
deflecting hostile attacks.
You will not pass.
With his sturdy head-to-toe armor,
Wait,
Ajax
I
can push
love the
enemies and
movement.
inflict
Everybody
knockback.
can move, especially with that grapple.
He can also deal massive damage to surrounding enemies with powerful shockwaves.
I'm going in.
Without a doubt, Ajax is the ultimate leader as he protects his friends using void energy throughout battle.
Yeah, he hits hard.
I will protect my team.
So that's coming out July 2nd, and it's free to play. I think that's pretty huge. Super interesting game. So let's move on. Speaking about interesting games, we have Marvel Rivals beta sign up. So if you haven't heard, Marvel Rivals is another hero shooter, kind of like Overwatch and Star Wars Hunters that just came out. They had an alpha test, like, I can't remember. It was either late June or early July, around then. But now they're opening it up again. Since it's going to be more of like a 2025 release, they're opening it up again for beta. And okay, from reading, what I got is that if you already played the alpha, you will be able to access the beta already. But if you don't have access to the alpha, then what you have to do is on the day, depending whether you're on console or PC, you go on to your respective platform and sign up through there. So for PC, you would go on to Steam, and it'll have like a little request button where on the page where you would purchase, and that's how you request access to the DLC. Now, I do know that it is different dates for both PC and Xbox, so let's see. So which will be held in late July going into early August, so kind of basically a month after their alpha test. PC players, a small preview. Okay, so this is talking about the alpha test back in May. Oh, okay, so it was actually May, not in June or July. Wow, it was that long ago. So it's 60v6. Let's see, state of play. Right, so a closed beta test, and they did just announce or show the new Tokyo 2099 Spider-Man map. It kind of reminded me of one of the Tokyo maps from, I'm not sure if it was Tokyo, but one of the maps from Overwatch, where it was like the main area was this little gazebo. But okay, so in the meantime, players can now sign up for the upcoming Marvel Rivals closed beta test by either filling out a brief questionnaire posted here if they wish to play on PS5 or Xbox Series X, or simply wishlist the game on Steam if they want to participate on PC. Okay, so there's not a request button, you just have to wishlist it. Once they do so, the player who will fill out questionnaire will receive an email should they be selected for the beta, which will begin July 23rd at 6 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. So it looks like it's going to be another key thing. I'm sure the same will apply once you get to level 5 or something like that. You will have a friend code to give out. But this is a good sign that we're seeing so many tests like back to back. It looks like they're really trying to get this right and make a game that is enjoyed by the public. So let's move on to the next. And although this is not a hero shooter, it does relate to the hero shooter that I mentioned, Star Wars Hunters. We're finally, even though it's the same game, it's the same exact game that released way back when, and like, I don't even remember. It feels like it was like 2007. When did this game originally release? Wow, I can't spell either. Or type. 2002. That's crazy. I thought it was like 2007. Wow. Okay, so it's getting its re-release. Wow, almost 15 years. That's over 10 years. That's insane. But Star Wars Bounty Hunter. And now, if you haven't seen it, it's basically just like a linear adventure story game where you play as Jango Fett and you're recruited by Count Dooku. Wow. But it's finally announced that it's getting a re-release. Now, I don't know if they're gonna add anything, because I do know it was re-released once. I think it says it right here. Star Wars Bounty Hunter has been re-released a few times. So actually a few times, not just once. In 2015, it was included in the Star Wars, in a collection of classic Star Wars games that was sold alongside a special edition PlayStation 5 console. Okay, released to okay, so limited run games supply. That's weird. So they dropped it for the PS5 in 2015 and then re-released it for the PS4 in 2019. But it was a limited physical copy of it. Huh. That's interesting. So a physical copy probably goes for a lot. That's why you gotta keep your physical games. You never know. They could go for a lot, but it's most likely just going to be the same game. Hopefully they revamp the graphics a lot more, because even the 2015 releases, you know, they still look pretty rough. Definitely still out of date graphics, but you also have the video for it. Let's see what more they can show.
Lord Tyrannus, our cloners require a host.
So it looks a little bit better.
You must find an ideal specimen.
Definitely does.
It's among the galaxy's most dangerous mercenaries.
It's not the Bounty Hunter 2099 or the Bounty Hunter 1919 game that we were supposed to get, but it's something.
No, Jango. It's too dangerous even for you.
I am the best. Always was.
Tough. And it's coming out August 1st, so it's available on pretty much all platforms August 1st. So these are all games that are coming out within at least 2 months. One is coming out literally in less than a week, and then the next is coming out on August 1st, a month later, even though it is a re-release. Now, I wonder how much they're going to price it at. Hopefully not a $60, because that's definitely not a $60 game, but definitely I would pay like 30 to 35, maybe 40, but this is really a game that I personally wouldn't want to pay $40 over, just because it's a re-release with so many other re-release, and it doesn't look like they're gonna add anything crazy. But who knows, they might. I could be wrong.